Welcome to Sort of Off Topic. This is my beautiful and talented and very smart friend named Max, and you better fucking respect her.
And this is Janey, my non-romantic life partner, who I would kill or die for 1,000 times over. And if you can't respect her, then you can't respect me. And if you can't respect me, you better get ready for a knuckle sandwich, baby.
Hello, and welcome
To an episode of Sort of Off Topic.
Whoa. Guys, I think David Guetta is in studio with us today.
I don't know who that is.
I actually, as I was saying it, wondered, is he a DJ? He's something, for sure.
Sure is.
Isn't David Guetta the one that goes, I feel so down, da, da, right now, I'm the rain, rain.
Is that not that one, The Weeknd song?
Hello, welcome back to Your Two Ants Drink Bad Rosé and Stare at Each Other. This is the podcast where usually we tell each other stories, but today I'm going to sit back and drink this terrible rosé, as previously mentioned and will be mentioned later on, and listen to Max tell me a story.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm so excited about it.
It's not like a story, though.
No, this is a historical tale. Sorry.
Historical.
Undo. An historical tale.
Can you say it more Cockney?
An historical tale.
Okay. Can you say it like Foghorn Leghorn?
I said some kind of an historical tale.
Great. Yeah. So
you don't have a third one?
Can you say it?
Is this comedy or not?
Can you say it like Barbie from Toy Story?
I didn't watch that one.
Well, you really let the whole team down. Say it like you just won Miss Universe.
This is an historical story.
Excellent. Now say it without the H.
Without the what?
The H.
This is an historical story. Back to Cockney.
But not just Cockney, like a little Cockney scamp.
Yup. Street urchin. Should I get into voice acting?
I really think you should. Also, I think my favorite thing about you is that no matter what's happening, you are always ready for Foghorn Leghorn. You will never miss.
There are two wolves inside of me, and one of them is Foghorn Leghorn, and the other one is a Cockney street urchin.
And they're fighting over one piece of bread.
I said a young man. Now you give me this here slice of untoasted toast.
Untwisted toast?
Untoasty toast.
Oh.
Anyways. You guys having fun?
That's the whole podcast. That's all we do here.
Yup. Janey, I got a story for you today.
Before we do that, can we fucking act like professionals and
No.
plug the Patreon?
God damn it. All right, Janey, take it away.
Okay, we have this thing. It's called a Patreon. You give us $3, we let you into the Discord. You give us $7, we show you our boobs.
Nope.
Oh, sorry. We're not doing that. All right. You give us $7, I show you my boobs.
I've given Janey $21. How many boobs have I seen?
All 3 of mine. Also, along with that, by the way, disclaimer, you're not going to see any boobs, nor would you want to, I don't think. But I got a message today on TikTok that was this man named Billy Steve. And
No, it's not.
And Billy Steve was like in his 60s and looked a little bit like a balding toad. And he said like,
Toads are always
it was
bald.
like, would you, yeah, but this one looked like a toad grew hair and then started losing it.
Can I tell my story?
No. And it said, are you looking for a sugar daddy, somebody to spoil you and give you 5,000 pounds a month? And I sent that on the Discord and I was like, hey, this man, it feels a little bit, reading that message feels like that man, Billy Steve, is in our house breathing my air. Like, it feels slightly more like moist in my house. I don't like it. It's gross. Like a frog habitat. And immediately everyone was like, oh yeah, haha, don't do it, Janey. And I was like, LOL, I shouldn't send him my socks. And they were like, no, you shouldn't. And I was like, oh no, do they not know I'm joking? Do they think I'm gonna take Billy Steve up on his offer? So I made another joke because as soon as I was stressing that they didn't know I was joking, a little toggle came down and it said, Buttery Daddy is following you. So I was like, I'm just gonna reach out. I'm just waiting for a message from this much better daddy. Come on, what's your offer? And
5,000 pounds of popcorn.
and one of them was like, oh, well, then you should follow him back. And I was like, I need you to know I'm joking. I need you to know that I'm not actually waiting for messages from these gross people and that I never talk to men online because I don't like online men. Anyway, the Patreon. You can get bonus episodes. And they're good. So enjoy that. $7 a month. And that's it. That's the Patreon. Check it out in the show notes.
For $7 a month, you don't get to see our boobs. Wow, Janey, great work.
Do you think I did a good job?
No, but it's fine.
I have this... I'm so sorry. This is my last tangent of the whole episode.
That's not true.
That is true, and I'm gonna prove it. But I have this third grader that is terrible. Not his fault 89% of the time, right? He has some things going on. But he does a terrible job. He screams. He just randomly will be like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. And then just get up and start meandering around. I'm like, no, back to your desk. And he's just like, ah. And then he goes, what if I cry? And I was like, well, then I'll be sad. And he's like, okay, will I have to do the work? And I was like, you'll still have to do the work. Yes. And he's like, why? And I was like, because you told me you were going to cry. And I know now that you're not really sad. So I don't know, logic. And then at the end of the day, after like terrorizing me for the entire class, he will get up and go, did I do good? Was it good or was it bad? If I'm being honest, I would say you're like at a yellow and I would like you to get to green. And he's like, so yellow, is that so good or bad? And I was like, not great. We'll do better next time. And he's like, what if I cry? What if I cry? What do you mean? And he won't leave the class until you tell him, you know, it was good. Like a little emotional terrorist. That's me. Tell me I was good.
I am so stressed out by that concept.
What if I cry?
I do not have the patience for that, and I know 100% that I am a bad person, and that kid would ask me for the second time, and I would say, bad. You did bad. Get out.
It's not worth it. The fit he will throw.
I don't care.
I've been held emotionally hostage by this third grader. It's bad.
I'll put him in a wheelbarrow. Leave him outside.
What if I cry?
Then I'll still do that.
All right. Well, join the Patreon.
I'll put you in a wheelbarrow and put you outside.
That's a $10 a month service. That costs more than seeing our boobs.
All right, Janey.
Yeah.
You ready for a story?
I'm so ready and also prepared to never hear me again.
Okay. Promises. All right, Janey. A little background for the listeners at home. When we first started doing the off topics, it was because we had so many weird things that we kept coming across in the world that we wanted to tell each other about, like long stories that we wanted to tell each other. And we were like, we've got to monetize this.
What?
That's not what happened. But we were like, if we're going to tell each other these long stories, like we should like do it as part of the podcast and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first story that I had that kind of became off topics a little bit. Kind of.
Yeah, you told me about this before we even recorded the first one. You were like, I can't keep this in. This is so exciting. And then you told me some of it. I've forgotten it all now.
Good.
Yeah.
This is something that I encountered, I think maybe in June of 2022. This is a story that I came across. This is a story that involves a lot of history and archaeology, but in a cool, fun, interesting way.
As it usually is.
As it usually is. I'm just going to get to it.
Okay.
There is an area on the coast of Oregon, which is next to the Neahkani Mountain, which is a word in the local Tillamook language of the place of God. It is a very high mountain that overlooks the sea. The area around it, there is a small town named Manzanita. The Oregon coastline, Nehalem Beach, which means where the people live, is the beach below the mountain. It is this big, beautiful, like Oregon coastline. I've seen pictures of it now. And it's like that beautiful, like pale, like green gray oceanscape that you picture for Oregon.
Yeah. It's
gorgeous.
Okay.
And there's this huge just mountain overlooking the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
For hundreds of years, beachcombers walking along this beach would sometimes encounter small, brown, misshapen lumps of beeswax that had washed ashore and was buried in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
They would also occasionally encounter little broken bits of porcelain, sometimes chunks of ivory, strange bits of wood.
So it's kind of like mudlarking in like the Thames, like...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The native people of the region, which are the Tillamook people and the Nehalem people, have oral traditions of histories passed down from hundreds of years ago of a shipwreck off the coast. And for a long time, it was considered kind of a legend. But the evidence is there. This beeswax washing on shore, little bits of porcelain, little bits of ship's planks, the cargo of a large ship that was dashed offshore off of the Oregon coastline. So we've had this evidence for hundreds of years of these just little particles of something mysterious. And there have been whispers of what this is for a very long time. And very recently, there were some fantastic discoveries relating to it.
Okay.
So, Janey, have you seen the film The Goonies?
No.
No?
Every time! I've told you this a million times! I've never seen The Goonies.
Motherfucker.
I know what the truffle shuffle is, and I think that that's the reason why I never saw it. I was a very sensitive child, and I love fat kids.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's the worst part of that movie.
Yeah.
Well, that ruins so much of this, but that's fine.
Everyone else has definitely seen The Goonies. So.
Yes. Steven Spielberg based the film The Goonies off of rumors of a lost treasure ship off the coast of Oregon.
Oh.
This is that ship. And that is the least interesting thing about this ship.
What?
that the movie The Goonies is based on it is the least interesting thing about it.
Okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
I love The Goonies is based on a true story.
Yes. Very shockingly closely based on a true story. Like, even closer to a true story than Steven Spielberg could have known when he made The Goonies.
Wow.
So, in 1967, the state of Oregon passed a law which indicated that all 362 miles of Oregon coastline were public land that were available for free and uninterrupted use of these state beaches to anyone who wanted to go there. They're public land. None of it is privately owned. 1967.
All right, but you already said that a huge portion of that was like Native American
Yes.
land.
Not privately owned in the sense of like you can't buy beachfront property in Oregon.
Yeah, but now anybody can just go
Yes.
and buy it.
Good and bad.
Okay.
No, you can't buy the land. It's public land.
What? So public, not open to the public to buy.
Yes.
That's
so,
what's confusing me. The word public seems like anybody can go and buy it.
No. Public land in the sense of all of that beach belongs to the state of Oregon, which means that it is open to
But you
anyone.
can go and visit. You just can't live there.
Yes.
The word public is really throwing me off here. Seems inviting.
It's public land, like a park. Like a park is public land.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's public land. Nobody owns the Oregon coast except for the state of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
1967, they passed this law that indicates a right to free and uninterrupted use of the state beaches. And immediately people begin to abuse that privilege, which leads to, in that same year, the imposition of a addendum where if you are using the beaches for treasure hunting, you have to request a treasure trove permit. There had been rumors, again, for hundreds of years that there was a Spanish treasure ship that had crashed off the coast, and treasure hunters from all across Oregon and beyond wanted to be the first to get to this beach and to find like a chest full of Spanish gold that some sailors had survived the shipwreck and brought it ashore and buried it on the beach. There were rumors that, like the a ship had crashed on the beach and that there was like a hidden cave somewhere that had all this treasure in it. That's what happens in the Goonies.
Yeah, I can totally see it in my head.
Yeah.
I don't even have to watch the Goonies. I can see it.
We're going to watch the Goonies. We're going to watch the Goonies this weekend.
Fine.
Yes. So there were all these rumors of like a lost Spanish treasure, and these treasure hunters from across Oregon came to be the first to find it. The state of Oregon, though, required them to get a treasure trove permit that basically requested the information of like, hey, how long are you going to be digging? Like, what will be the environmental impact of this? What's going to be the impact on like the area and things like that? Because people were just coming in with bulldozers and trying to dig up the beach. And they were like, all right, so we got to have a time frame, and you got to say that you're going to fix it when you're done.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
So annoying. The image of somebody just going in with a fucking bulldozer is so annoying. Like, fuck those people.
Well, let me tell you about Ed Fire.
Oh! How does he spell fire, with a Y?
Nope.
Oh, what a fucking asshole.
Yep. Ed Fire was one of the first people to request this treasure trove permit in 1967. Mm-hmm. His treasure hunting practice was one of conspicuous secrecy, where he insisted that nobody look at him while he was doing his treasure hunting. He was like, this is my thing. Everybody go away. Nobody look at me. And then he would drive like bulldozers down the beach and like sing loudly. And then people would be like, what is he doing? And he'd be like, don't look at me. It's a secret. He pursued his treasure hunting on the Oregon coast for 22 years.
Whoa.
Of just continuously requesting permits, digging, finding nothing, and then going to another area. And he kept having all of these crazy stories of like how he had found some new information that would lead him to the treasure at last. In many cases, his reasoning was that God himself had spoken to him, to Ed Fire, and told him where the treasure was and to go and dig. Right.
What else was happening in 1967? This is around the time of like the Cuban Missile Crisis and
the
like
moon landing,
which was fake. God was busy faking the moon landing and giving Ed Fire some fucking treasure hunt tips.
Bad ones.
Hey, God, fucking solve the American-Cuban like crisis. Fucking Russia is going crazy in 1967. Can we fucking intervene, God? But no, you want to give Ed Fire some gold doubloons? God damn it. And you know what? Goddamn you.
So he hunted for 22 years and he found nothing. Another well-known treasure hunter in this area was Bud Kretzinger. He started in 1983. Mm-hmm. And his claims of what he was searching for were beyond anything that anyone had ever claimed was on that ship or in Oregon. He claimed that he was searching the beaches for the treasures of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba.
Why would they be here in Oregon?
Great question. He also said that he was sure that when he found the treasure, he would find the ancient scrolls written by Moses himself and also the Ark of the Covenant.
Do you think this is what Nicolas Cage's character from National Treasure is based off of?
No.
Is Bud Light, or whatever his name was?
Bud Light?
Oh my God. Ed Fire, Bud Kretzinger, Bud Light. You see where my head is.
Kind of.
Do you think... I think that's what his character is based off of.
Could be. There are crazy guys everywhere, though. Hard to say if there's ever just one.
Ain't that true?
So this spree of treasure hunters continued until 1989, when the state of Oregon put a moratorium on further issuance of treasure trove permits, because there were so many very obvious legal issues with giving people a permit to dig up the whole beach.
Yeah. But also, any treasure they find would belong to the state of Georgia.
That's actually one of the issues.
Okay.
Not the state of Georgia.
It's ours. What do you mean not ours?
But we've been so good.
How many peaches have we sent to Washington? How many? It's like it means nothing.
The more prominent legal reasons why this became no longer a thing is because there was some confusion over if someone found something, who would own it? Would it be the person who found it, or the state of Oregon, or would it be the native people? Or
I think that I said the state of Washington. I think I'm also now trying to give control to Washington. I forgot it was Oregon. I would like to correct myself. It belongs to nobody but Oregon. Thank you. Go. I think it belongs to the native people. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, from a legal standpoint, it's a complicated issue.
Yeah.
Also, though, like, that is one of the very rare things that you can find in an archaeological dig that does not necessarily belong to the native people, because it's from a ship.
Yeah. From
the Philippines, actually. Spoilers.
What?
Yeah.
So maybe I should get some.
Maybe Janey gets
some for Janey.
She's been so good.
I haven't been that good. I told you I wasn't going tangents, and I feel like I've interrupted a bunch. No gold doubloons for me.
In addition, the treasure trove permits infringed on the rights of archaeological sites. Protections for archaeological sites were accidentally outdone by the rights afforded by the treasure trove permits. So they were like, we got to stop doing these.
Yeah.
Those are the treasure hunters of the 20th century. And they didn't find much. They found some bits of broken pottery. They found more clumps of brown beeswax and everything. But here's something crazy.
Okay.
The brown beeswax that people had been finding on this coast here washed up from the ocean. Here's something that I didn't know until I heard this story. Okay. The Lewis and Clark expedition in 1806 reached Oregon. Sergeant John Ordway was part of that expedition, and he reported that there were native people who were trading in beeswax with other people, even with like Hawaii. They were trading with people in other areas of this beeswax that they had access to.
Yeah.
There were no bees on the West Coast until 50 years after the Lewis and Clark expedition.
That's why it was probably so valuable.
Yeah, but also how the fuck did they get it? Bees weren't in the Americas until 50 years after that.
That's wild.
Yeah, honeybees. I guess wax bees? I'm not sure. Bees that made that particular kind of wax.
Okay.
I'm sure that there were some bees, but that should not have existed in Oregon at that time. The beeswax was the part of the evidence that this was not just, flotsam and jetsam, but that this was cargo from a treasure ship, right? Because in this period that the beeswax was dated to, which is in the 1700s, beeswax was being shipped across the ocean really often, specifically by the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church mandated that the only candles that can be used in religious ceremony are beeswax candles. You cannot make candles from anything else and use them in a Catholic ceremony at this point in time, which is really funny also because the Catholic Church was hugely prominent in, for example, Spain, who owned the beeswax trade.
Yeah.
And made a lot of money from it. So that's fun.
Yeah, but also it makes a lot of sense because God doesn't hear prayers unless bees are the ones that deliver them.
Yeah, unless there's bees sweat on your prayers.
The bees bees do a lot of work to get your prayers to God. That's the reason why fucking Ed Fire is able to get messages back and forth. He's sending his little bee messengers. And why stupid, starving children around the world don't get any luck from God. They don't know about the bees. The bees,
They gotta send more bees.
Hey, send more bees, says God to starving children. Big middle finger in the air.
So the Catholic Church mandated the use of beeswax in religious ceremonies. They also shipped beeswax all around the world, and especially to like the colonies that were emerging, the Catholic like converted colonies around the world. And they were making a fuck ton of money off of it in addition. But this beeswax can still be found in the beaches around this town of Manzanilla, around the mountain and everything. I have a picture that I'll show you a little bit later, but just big chunks of beeswax. And that's something suspicious. For a long time, there were rumors about this ship that had crashed offshore, and they called it the Beeswax wreck. So a lot of things that you find online about this ship are labeled under the Beeswax wreck, because up until a couple of years ago, we didn't know what this ship was. We weren't even sure that this was a real ship. But through some very diligent research practices, we were able to actually track down the ship that was lost off the coast of Oregon.
Hell yeah.
The ship that had vanished in 1693 likely crashed early 1694 at the base of the Neahkani Mountain, was hundreds of miles off of its route. It was traveling from the Philippines to Acapulco in Mexico. they recently discovered that the wood that the hull of the ship was made out of was a Malavo hardwood that is specifically from the Philippines and was used to create ships during this time. So this lends credence to the fact that this is this ship that they were able to track down.
It's wild that wood would still be intact.
I'm going to go into it.
Okay.
But the ship was a Manila galleon.
Okay.
Have you seen a Spanish galleon before, the ship?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I have a picture.
Yeah,
just in
show me.
case. Just so you have the right
thinking
picture.
of like a different Pirates of the Caribbean, like a ship.
Yeah. This is what a Manila galleon from this time period would look like.
The big one?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Huge.
It's giant. It's huge. They have them next to like 2 other ships, and they look very tiny compared to this giant one. But it is kind of like it looks like the Captain Hook ship from Hook.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Huge ship, a sailing vessel, again, built in Manila. Mm-hmm. Hundreds and hundreds of crew on board, likely.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge ship. So this ship was sailing from the Philippines, from Manila, to Acapulco in Mexico. It was carrying, obviously, beeswax, porcelain, the things that we knew about. But a researcher, who I will talk more about later, was able to actually find the shipping manifest from this lost ship. The precious cargo that this ship was carrying was fine quality embroidered bed sheets, ivory statues of the Christ child and saints, which were going to be placed in churches in Mexico, gold paper fans, lace, and candle wax, that beeswax.
Yeah.
These were going to be traded in Mexico over to China for silver, and then the silver was going to be traded further. It was just shifting things around, basically. These like luxury goods that were being shipped around primarily through business of the church, is my impression.
So when I think of treasure, I think of doubloons. I think of gold coins and galleons, and like all of these. Galleons is a Harry Potter coin, I'm realizing. It's not a real coin, is it? I think of Harry Potter gold in a big treasure chest. You're telling me that what these treasure hunters are looking for are bed sheets and beeswax?
Not necessarily, because it's also likely that they would have been carrying money.
Okay.
But there is a certain like mystique to like, ooh, a Spanish galleon, thank God the ghost, a lost treasure.
That's
but
true.
in it, like factually, there weren't just ships sailing around with hundreds of thousands of gold doubloons in their hulls, you know?
Yeah.
So this is treasure in many senses. The treasure hunters in the 20th century were specifically looking for like a bucket of gold. That was what they thought that they were going to find. Historically, that's probably not what they would have found, which is not to say that they didn't have buckets of gold on those ships, but
that was the main
unlikely
thing that on there was bed sheets and beeswax.
And like fine quality ivory, lace, things that would
disintegrate in the ocean over 400 years.
Maybe.
But I fucking hate treasure hunters so much. I'm realizing as you're talking, there's maybe no type of person I hate more than treasure hunters like this. Fucking vultures who I hope only bad things happen to. I hope they never find a single thing and they die poor.
Yeah.
Good Lord. They don't deserve any love. And also, I hope they get pooped on every day by various types of animals. I hate treasure hunters.
Yeah. It was also carrying porcelain, which was radiocarbon dated to the Kangxi period in China, which would have been in the 1700s. This ship that they discovered the records for was named the Santo Cristo de Burgos. The ship that's at the bottom of the sea off the coast of Oregon. For many years, there was debate about whether that ship would have been the Santo Cristo de Burgos or another ship that sank several years later, the San Francisco Javier, which sank in 1705. The way that they were able to tell that it was most likely, in fact, the Santo Cristo de Burgos and not the San Francisco Javier is because in the year 1700, there was a massive earthquake that hit Oregon called the Cascadia earthquake. It registered as, I think, a 9.3 on the Richter scale. It fully shifted the entire coastline, and it caused a 25-foot tsunami, which crashed into the coastline. Pieces of this wax and porcelain have been found so far inland that they couldn't possibly have been washed there by coastal currents. They only could have been brought there by a 20-foot tall tsunami wave.
I want to throw up. That's so scary.
So, because we know that the San Francisco Javier sank in 1705, which is after this earthquake, the ship that has been sending beeswax to shore over the past 200 years cannot possibly be the San Francisco Javier. It must be the Santo Cristo de Burgos. There is still questions about it, but this is how they figured it out, which I think is goddamn fascinating.
That is really cool.
This is also wildly complicated things because when you have an earthquake, the ocean floor also shifts.
Yeah, so you can't like have direct locations anymore. Everything is changed.
Exactly. So no matter where that ship would have sunk off the coastline, it is very, very difficult to narrow down where it is now, because it is likely that through 250 years of coastal movements and tides, in addition to a massive goddamn earthquake, it is no longer where it sank. So that has complicated things significantly.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, isn't it possible in an earthquake like that it could have just like literally just been destroyed at the ocean floor when everything started shifting?
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been crushed by the earth, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
Swallowed.
They're not looking for a full ship. They're looking for a shipwreck, you know?
Yeah. Max is doing spirit fingers.
I'm just thinking.
That's how she thinks with flair.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, P.S. I'm very fascinated.
So, all of this information that we found out about the Santo Cristo de Burgos, we found out between like 2007 and 2012. There were volunteer efforts to try and uncover more information about this ship that we were finding evidence of. And through this, they were talking to the native people of the area. They were learning the oral histories that they had passed down about this ship that had crashed offshore. There are some stories, again, of like a group of men making it to the shore. Some say that they had a chest. Some say that they like tried to murder each other once they got to the shore. Some say that they came and integrated with the native population. So for years afterwards, there are reports of the Tillamook people using sharpened bits of painted porcelain as arrowheads. Because they had washed on shore. I know, I'm obsessed with it.
Oh, so fancy.
And again, those quote-unquote explorers with the Lewis and Clark expedition made references to, quote, red-headed Indians in the area, which might be indicators of the shipwrecked sailors having integrated with the local population. Chief Kilchis, who was one of the last free Tillamook leaders, was rumored to be a descendant of one of the galleon crew members.
I mean, look, that's how my dad's lineage.
Yeah.
That's what happened, is a French trader was coming down, Joseph Robidoux, and he just like did it with a bunch of native women. And now in 2023, Janey gets a podcast. You're welcome.
People have also found for many years stones that have holes or markings in them.
Which, like hagstones?
Like hagstones, but they seem to be made intentionally. This is a major plot point in the classic film, The Goonies. They find a rock that has a set of holes drilled into it, and they're able to line it up with a set of stones that come out of the water off the coast. So it's like there are like 4 rocks coming off of the point of the coast, and they line it up, and then they're able to see that like there is another hole inland on the beach that doesn't line up with anything, and so they're able to figure out that that's where the treasure is.
Spoiler.
Yeah. You're gonna watch it this weekend, you'll be fine. But they have found rocks very much like that are intentionally drilled, that have very clear and intentional markings on them, but they don't know what they're for. So there are a lot of these rumors that these are treasure maps, where if you find the right place and you line them up, then you'll be able to figure out where the treasure is.
Love that.
Possible.
Yeah.
Not abundantly probable, but could be.
You think it was just a bunch of people like with ADHD who were just like drilling into rocks while like listening to people or like doing other tasks or like in school? And like 400 years later, people are like, what could it mean? Perhaps the treasure is there?
Have you ever seen an herb?
Yes.
Like an
cilantro
herb bowl?
Oh, yes. You have one.
Yeah, where it has like little holes in it that you can use to like pull all the leaves off of an herb all at once. Could just be that. Who knows?
It could just be something practical.
It could be for the Game Boy.
It could be a tiny little cock ring.
Ooh.
Yes. But you know, everybody's touching it and being like, maybe the treasure is here.
Boop, boop. again, this fact-finding group in the 21st century trying to find more information about what could have possibly happened. They were able to track down this info about the earthquake that happened in 1700.
Yeah.
They were able to basically restrict the potentials for what the ship could be to these two options. And then they were able to determine, based on earthquake evidence, as well as radiocarbon dating, that it is likely the Santo Cristo de Burgos.
Okay.
Around the same time, there is a woman named Cameron La Follette. And I'm her second biggest fan in the entire goddamn world.
Who's the first?
The person who wrote this article that I'm basing all of this off of. Cameron La Follette has had a lot of careers in her lifetime. Mm-hmm. She started off as an old-growth forest protector conservationist. Mm-hmm. Later, she went on to get a journalism degree. And then after that, she went to law school. And then she got her master's in psychology.
Oh, I love her. I feel seen. This is how I go around my life. Just going to school.
She was living in New York City for many, many years. But she was in New York City on 9/11. And after that, she had always felt very uncomfortable in New York City. It was just too loud and not enough green space. And she grew up in Arizona, so she was not used to that much like human density. So she was always a little bit uncomfortable in New York City. But after 9/11, she was like, this is my sign that I have to get the fuck out of here.
God is giving me this sign. He could have been more subtle. Sent me a note.
But she moved to Oregon after that. And she became very much involved in forest conservation in Oregon. So she went back to kind of her roots. Ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Today, she is the executive director of the Oregon Coast Alliance. Okay. She is a prodigious researcher, and she is the reason why we know most of the things that we know about this ship.
Nice. Not
related whatsoever to her job. This is a passion project that she pursued for almost 10 years. She spent upwards of $10,000 over the course of 2 years paying translators and archivists to find out more information about this ship from the Spanish archives. She heard this story about this ship that was lost off the coast. And after 100 years of treasure hunters, primarily men, who were like, oh, a ship crashed. I should get treasure about it. She was perhaps the first person to think, oh, there were people there. Something must have happened to them. People don't just disappear. Their families were still home. They must have looked. So,
I hope she finds the treasure. She deserves it.
I know. Right? She doesn't want the treasure.
That's why she deserves it.
Yeah.
She'd give it all back to the forest.
So Cameron La Follette became obsessed with this ship. And she contacted Esther González Perez, who is an archivist at the Archivo General de Indias in Seville, Spain. Okay. And she asked her to go through all of their massive ancient shipping archives and see if she could find any information about the Santo Cristo.
Smart.
Right? And this was a process years in the making. And in this article, which is obviously linked in the show notes, she talks about, she's like, yeah, like sometimes like my garage door was broken for 6 months because I kept being like, I could get it fixed. Or I could instead spend that money on paying a translator for this text and finding out like...
So was this other woman, was she getting paid to do this?
Yes.
This work? For years?
For years. Ugh. Yes, Esther González Perez was an archivist. She was being paid, I guess, like a special projects fee.
By Cameron? Or by...
By Cameron La Follette, as far as I know.
Okay. If I had money, I would just be fucking throwing it at interesting people.
Right? Cameron La Follette also hired a bunch of independent translators and things to help with like the work of trying to translate all of these ancient shipping documents. Yeah. Because shipping documents, while they are very precise, are oftentimes very shorthand.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of things that like are very much left up to interpretation. So she hired historians and translators to try and learn anything that she could about this ship. Yeah. She was obsessed in the same way that these treasure hunters were, but not in the concept of finding treasure, but in the concept of finding the truth of this story, right?
Yeah.
The reason why she became so fascinated with this is because in addition to being one of the most fascinating people I've ever read about, she is also a very prolific poet. She has been writing poetry for most of her life.
Okay.
And
a poet, lawyer, psychologist, conservationist, treasure hunter. with disposable income. I just love her.
I think about her.
What a fucking fascinating person.
I know, right? Just the absolute coolest. She has been a poet for most of her life. It is her great passion. Whatever other career she was pursuing, she's always been doing poetry.
Yeah.
She hasn't had colossal success in the sense of being like nationally recognized or anything. I've read her poetry. It's incredible. She is a very talented poet. But the coolest thing about her poetry to me is that she has a very studious poetry practice.
Yeah.
Where she's like every like, what is it, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
She sits down for 2 hours and she just writes poems.
I want that. I want that diligent sort of
Incredibly diligent.
practice.
So she has written thousands of poems.
Yeah.
And she came to a point a couple of years ago where she was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all of these poems.
Yeah.
So she cold called the University of Oregon and was like, hey, do you want my poems? And he was like, who is this?
He? The university?
Yeah, well, he, the guy who ran the archives.
Okay.
She...
The university was like, yes.
He's very rude. No, she cold called this guy and was like, hey, do you want my poems? And he was like, who is this? And she was like, it's me, Cameron La Follette. And he's like, I don't know who you are. And she's like, oh, I'm not famous. And she basically convinced him. She was like, I've written 2,000 poems and I think someone should have them. And you have a poetry archive and I think that you should take them. And he's like, okay, but nobody knows who you are. And she's like, that's okay. Just, I feel like someone should have these. And he was like, I mean, I guess. And then they became best friends.
Oh. Oh.
And even though he has since retired from the University of Oregon, the University of Oregon Archives still accepts her yearly shipments of poems.
Shipments. Oh, good.
The reason why she became so obsessed with this lost ship is because the moment that she heard about it, she became possessed with the desire to write an epic poem about the shipwreck.
Yes.
And so all of this research is so that she could write a massive and beautiful epic poem, which has since been published and will be in the show notes for this episode.
Oh, fuck.
A portion. A portion is available for free in the show notes for this episode.
Yeah.
And it is so good. It is heartrending. It is just amazing. So please, if you like poetry, please check it out. It's so cool. But that was her, like, drive behind this, was because she was like, I am fascinated by this and I need to know everything because I need, like, she felt this drive to, like, write this epic poem about it.
Amazing.
So she did all of this research. They were able to find, through Cameron La Follette's independently funded research with the Spanish archives.
Max is tapping on the table, and I'm just glaring at her. I am the one that has to audio produce.
Listen.
The taps.
They were able to find not only the full roster of sailors who were on the ship when it sank, but they were also able to find out information about the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
His name was Don Bernardo Matias Iñiguez del Valle de Pradilla.
Easy for you to say.
It wasn't. He was a knight in the Order of Santiago, which I had never heard of, but was and is an elite military organization of Spanish nobles. So he was a knight. He was the mayor of a silver mining town called San Luis Potoso in Mexico.
Yeah.
That he specifically... Hang on.
I'm making faces because the Spanish being in Mexico or in the Philippines, fucking colonizers.
For sure. But
yeah,
as far as being terrible and a colonizer, he was not as bad as other people. He put his own personal money into, like, improving the working conditions in how the silver was being mined in his town while he was mayor.
That's good.
Which is pretty okay. It could be worse. He's from Basque. They were able to find a bunch of information about him. There's actually, in Spain, he is featured on a carved relief of the Mother Mary in the church in the region where he's from.
Whoa.
Yeah, there are all of these men gathered around the feet of the Mother Mary on this, like, relief.
Yeah.
And he is specifically labeled as one of the men there. And they didn't know who this guy was until this research. Like, they knew who he was,
Yeah.
but they didn't know that he was like a ship's captain of this ship. And so they were able to connect this like relief with this shipwreck half the world away.
Because of a woman in Oregon.
Yeah.
Because of a fucking lawyer poet in Oregon.
Poet, lawyer it. Unbelievably fascinating shit.
Yeah.
But through her research, they were able to find out all of this information. They were able to find the names of the men who died on the ship.
Yeah.
Just the most fascinating shit in the entire world. And that would be cool enough for me. But also, in June of 2022, when I came across this article, the reason why it was going around is because in 2020, there was a man whose name I didn't write down, so never mind. It's like Craig Ship.
His name was Craig Ship.
A fisherman was walking along the coastline of Oregon, and he was local to the area, and he had been noticing for a while that some of the sea caves that had been eroded into the beach in Oregon had bits of driftwood that would come out of them. He thought that it was just the tide had brought this driftwood in and was then bringing it back out again. But he began to notice that no, the wood was coming out of the cave. So he contacted some of the local municipal organizations, and he was like, hey, especially these small pieces of driftwood, I feel like they're going to get lost, and I feel like someone should check out maybe what they are.
Yeah.
And so they investigated.
I would have never thought to even notice driftwood coming out of someplace.
Yeah.
Maybe because I've never lived that close to like the sea and caves, you know, where I can regularly see them.
Yeah.
No, definitely not sea caves.
God, no. That's two of my greatest fears.
Honestly, not far from it. But like, I would have never even thought of that. Like, wild that he was just like, hey, that's not normal. How do you know it's normal?
Yeah. Well, because he was in that area all the time.
Yeah, that's wild.
He spent his life on those beaches. And so, like, over time, he just started noticing the patterns.
I love
it.
I love it.
Fascinating. This is based on the articles that I have read. I may be misrepresenting what his thoughts were.
Okay.
I am not sure.
Got it.
But he noticed that this driftwood was abnormal and that he went out and contacted someone and was like, this is weird. It is coming out. So we contacted the local municipal organizations. They got in touch with the volunteers who are working to try and find information about the Beeswax wreck. And then between them, they got in contact with the Coast Guard and a bunch of offshore archaeology groups. And they were like, hey, can we check this out? And they tested the driftwood, and it tested for being from the 1700s and being this strain of hardwood from Manila. And they were like, this might be it.
We found it.
And in June of 2022,
Oh my God.
2 years later because of COVID,
Yeah.
but in June of 2022, they launched a mission where they had an elite team of divers go into the sea caves off the coast here, and they were able to hook up with like fucking like helicopters and shit.
Yeah.
They were able to hook and extract 7 massive pieces of the hull of the Santo Cristo. And they are currently on display in a museum in Oregon. They had 40 minutes to do the extraction because they had to do it at the lowest possible tide.
Yeah.
Like, there were only a couple of days out of the year when the tide would be low enough for them to be able to get into the sea caves without being trapped. Mm-hmm. They also had to have an elite team of divers, and it was still a very dangerous procedure. They were like, it was red hot the entire time. They had emergency teams on the ground the whole time because it was like the sea caves are eroded away by the ocean. So there are all of these little like nooks and crannies and spots where you can get stuck.
Yeah.
So they had this massive extraction. They were able to pull up these 7 huge planks of the ship, the Santo Cristo, and they were able to test them and basically prove that this was this ship and that at least a portion of the ship had been pulled into these sea caves,
Yeah.
in part by the coastal movements, in part by this earthquake, in part by the movements of the ocean. So they know that there are still big chunks in this specific sea cave that they are not able to access just because of the way that the landscape has changed.
Yeah.
But they have been able to pull up these huge chunks of wood. They have been able to test them. They've been able to find the way that the ship was built based on the indentations of the iron against the wood for like the places where, what's the word? The places where like the ship was built together with iron and wood. The water had absorbed differently into the wood around the shape of the iron. So they were able to identify the iron pieces that were part of the ship. And as a result, find like the building techniques and stuff like that. They've been able to find so much information from what is basically 7 big old sticks. It is unbelievably fascinating. And this is the proof, besides all of those little pieces of porcelain, all of those little pieces of wax over the course of 250 years that have been pulled up. This is the first time that we have seen that this is a ship. And we are pretty sure we know what it is. We know who was there. We know what happened. And they are in the process of researching right now what happened that caused the ship to crash.
Yeah.
Whether this was some kind of storm or whether this was like a man-made error. But again, this ship was hundreds of miles off course from where it needed to go on the route from Manila to Acapulco. So they were in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
They saw, I also didn't know this, the coast of California and Oregon for sailors was a death trap.
Yeah.
The policy was basically as soon as you saw the land on the coast of Oregon or California, you turned.
Yeah, because
the
it's all
opposite
rocky
way.
And it's shallow in random places.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. There are an estimated 3,000 ships that were lost off of the coast of Oregon and California. And we found this one. It's so fucking cool.
That is cool.
I think about it virtually nonstop.
Do you think that Cameron, La Follette?
Yeah.
Do you think that Cameron La Follette, like I think about this a lot with Michelle McNamara when she was doing all that research on the Golden State Killer. She had all of her notes written and she died like right before they fucking caught the Golden State Killer because of a lot of her research. Like she dedicated her fucking life to it. Mm-hmm. Do you think that it was the same feeling for Cameron La Follette of just like all this research, her whole life just like fucking narrowing in on this one thing, and then they find it in her lifetime?
Amazing.
I mean, how does she feel? Like I want to talk to her.
Yes.
Does she feel like she did that?
It's so crazy. So the article that I'm going to link, it talks a lot about Cameron La Follette and like her career and her life. It is like about 50% about this ship, 50% about Cameron La Follette, and it deserves to be because she is unreal. But it is a long form article that was published in Atavist magazine.
Okay.
And it is the best article I've ever read. It's a bit of a long read. It's probably I printed it out in like semi-large text and it's 29 pages. So like it's a bit of a read.
It's a novella.
But it is absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
I'm also going to link to a bunch of other resources. National Geographic, the Smithsonian all did features on this. I'm going to link to the poetry that Cameron La Follette wrote about the shipwreck, which was also published in Atavist magazine, and also to the other articles that Cameron La Follette wrote in collaboration with the archivists and the archaeologists who were working on this project, determining like the cargo and everything like that. She really just like unreal. So I'm going to link to a bunch of stuff about her and her work and the ship and the historical like weight of this. Mm-hmm. The thing about this that is so unbelievably cool to me is that there is a ship that crashed 250 years ago and we still don't know what happened. Mm-hmm. But we know that this ship crashed, and we had all of these tiny pieces of evidence of, you know, old oral traditions and histories, tiny pieces of thing that would wash up on the beach, which if you weren't looking for them, you wouldn't find them, right?
Yeah.
Just whispers and hints for 200 years. And then in the past 25 years, the amount of information that we have found out about this, that this is no longer just like a local legend, but is fact, is so unbelievably cool. And also the fact that this comes down to the efforts of so many people, everyone from, obviously, the native people of the area who kept the story alive.
Yeah.
Even the shitty, nasty treasure hunters who like built this hype up and kept the story alive.
Yeah.
All of these historians, archivists, researchers, translators, archaeologists, conservationists, everyone who worked together on this thing that, again, we thought might be real, but we weren't sure. And now it is.
Ugh.
And we get to live in a time where we find out that now it is.
Yeah. And we have physical evidence that we could take a trip to Oregon and go see it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the other thing that is very cool to me is that they were able to find all of the men who were on the ship when it crashed.
Yeah.
And so these men who for 200 years have just been considered lost, we know who they are. We know what happened, and their names are being spoken aloud for the first time in more than a century.
That is cool.
It is unbelievably cool, and I am hog wild for this amazing story. I love this ship. I love Cameron La Follette.
Yeah.
I think it is unbelievably neat.
And what's the name of the ship again?
The name of the ship is the Santo Cristo de Burgos.
That's so cool. I love that after all of this, it was so satisfying to hear about these fucking treasure hunters bulldozing the fucking beach and spending 20 years and just looking for buckets of gold. To just have a woman who is a poet, who is a sensitive researcher, who spent her personal time and money recruiting other women to do research with her.
Yeah.
Discover the important thing about this ship, which was the people on it and the history of it. And then finding evidence of it just based off of a fisherman being like, that looks so weird. Can somebody check that out? That's fucking satisfying.
It's so good.
I love that nobody found buckets of gold.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourselves.
Go fuck yourselves, you sons of bitches.
Yeah. That was very exciting.
Thank you so much.
Do we have anybody who lives in Oregon listening to this podcast? Can you go and take pictures for us?
Oh, I was going to say, can we come up and crash on your couch?
Can we come crash on your couch? We'll watch Twilight with you. Also, could you take pictures for us? Thanks. So exciting.
I've been thinking about this ship for 1.5 years, and I'm so glad that I finally get to tell you about it.
Max, I'm so excited that you finally did this. Is this like a weight off your shoulder that you finally got this out?
Also, for 6 months, I swear to God, I kept searching and I couldn't find this goddamn article.
Yeah, until like
today.
5 minutes before we were like, you're like, I guess I'm ready. And then you found it.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting.
So good. I'm so excited. I'm going to link to so many articles and you guys should read them all because it's so fascinating. And also, I'm going to try and get a copy of the Oregon magazine that Cameron La Follette, they dedicated an entire special issue back in 2018 to her research on the Santo Cristo. I'm going to try and get a copy of it because this is everything in the world to me now.
Yeah. I think it does kind of also match up with what we like about folk tales and fairy tales when we talk about like ethical folklorism, is the idea of like the important thing is giving proper credit and tracking your sources and like doing all of the bare minimum, at least the bare minimum of like crediting the people that you heard the story from. And this kind of like really satisfies that about like treasure hunting as well. You know, like it's so ethical and so like it just follows the exact right lines of, you know, where you're just like satisfied that they succeeded.
Yeah. I'm so happy for them.
So good. All right. Well,
I'm so tired from having feelings about sailors.
Hey, me too, man. Same but different.
Same but different.
Well,
Gene,
that was so fucking brilliant and so fucking interesting. I
have a crush on this ship.
I have a crush on this woman.
Also.
Great. I want to grow up to be her.
And again, this is sort of the story, and I already am so scared that I got some of the details wrong. Please go check out the sources that I have linked. They are much better at telling the facts than I am. I am much more invested in the story of this ship and the people who were involved in finding out about this mystery. So if I got some facts wrong, I care, but not that much, and I'm very sorry.
Not everybody can be as thorough and graceful as I am when doing my research. I never make any mistakes at all, and I always thoroughly source. Remember when I just retold you a reality TV show season?
Yeah.
And I didn't even watch the whole season? you and I take things seriously in such different ways.
Yeah.
I love us.
Me too. Good job, us.
Good job, us. All right. Well, everybody, with that, we hope you have a great week and you enjoy the next couple of off topics. Happy off topic season.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you again next week.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Testing.
Testing.
Testing. I'm going to taste this wine for the first time on mic.
Oh.
You want to try with me?
Yeah, Mike, do you mind?
Clink. Oh, yeah. I hate rosé.
That one's not bad.
Rosé tastes like flat spit. And it always has.
Are you telling me your spit tastes like rosé?
Yeah, no, I'm so rich.
You beautiful unicorn princess.
It's me. Yeah. Come kiss me, rich boys. My
I don't
spit
hate
tastes
it.
like flat rosé.
Just regular rosé.
You don't hate this?
No, it's
Mm.
fine. It's got a little bit more. It's not sweet. That's what I hate is when rosés are like sweet.
See, I want juice. I'm constantly on the hunt for just juice.